This is just automatic pilot. I've done this for thousands and thousands of charts, and I wouldn't work the chart without it. There are different ways you can get it, but it's nicest when you have the graph laid out like this. It just presents it, makes it easy to use. You can see in 2015, let's just go back to see where Saturn is. 2015, Saturn's just coming up before it hits the IC. It's in the 3rd house. Okay, so 2015, Pluto was opposing the Sun. That was a harsh time. Pluto was opposing the Sun. Then it lifted, and there's no more Pluto things. So there's some real confrontation or trouble, whether it was with the kids, the wife, the home, whether you can hold everything together, whether it's with work, whatever. There's some confrontations going on there, and fears coming up, and powers. And he has Pluto on the ascendant, so it's going to have a stronger hit because he's tied into Pluto anyways. So you can see that played out. So that we're looking at 2019. I did this, it was 2018, but we're looking at it from 2019. And so you'd have to ask when you have dialogue, what happened back then? Because that really, what you survived, how you got through what happened there, is going to have a strong effect on how much you're going at now. So that's the Pluto, but the Neptune's doing nothing through 15, 16, 17, 18, but this year, and for the next 4 years, Neptune's highly active. Okay, see Neptune coming along. Just Neptune's conjuncting the descendant, on and off almost the whole year, lifts up and comes back again for 3 months of 2020, and the last 3 months of 2020, and the beginning of 2021, Neptune's within a degree of his ascendant. So he's got 2 years, Neptune opposing his ascendant, conjuncting his descendant. So that can be really enchanted by a partner, or really dreaming about a partner, or fantasizing about it, or it can be evasive and aloof, or pulling away from it. It can be an aloofness and pulling away more. Okay, so, but you know, the Neptune's coming from his response to others, from his partner, the response to others. So there's big visions and big visions out there, and he's going to have some question of how much he can live up to it, or what he can do around it. The ascendant, it opposes his ascendant. So while it's conjunctions, that's a main thing going on right now, finishing the astrology classes and then going forward. But then at the same time, Neptune's squaring the midheaven. His ascendant and midheaven pretty close to square. So it comes in and squares the midheaven during this too. So that's not gets confusion to the jobs, to what I want to do, what I got to do. Do I stay here? Do I go? What am I doing this? Is it stable? Is it not stable? Well, the economy is changing. The world is changing fast. He's tied into these changes. And that square to the midheaven lasts until the end of 2021 before it lifts off that. So this is the last couple of years of getting the kids through university. Okay, and then what? Well, if the kids aren't there, it's how much do you work for? How much do you work for? What are you going to do? He's got there's dreams about what to do when the kids are gone. His wife will have her dreams, and Neptune on the descendant. He'll see that. He doesn't. He's looking at I want to work the same amount, and he's not sure. I think he could be half dreaming and half evasive. It's hard to, he's not sure where he is around where it's going. This is a confusion, a fog for 2 or 3 years. And then in 2022, Neptune will square the Mercury. And that will go on into 2023 before it's finished all of those. So Neptune's always somewhere in our chart. It's coming, it's just we're looking at the times when it's critical in life. So he's got Neptune factors, faith factors, belief factors. In his own, Neptune's always a test of your own faith in yourself and in others. And this is going on this whole time. So this is a puzzle, okay? So this is an extra temptation that's taking away. Now you have to look at and then look and see where Saturn is, back up to where Saturn is. So in 2015, Saturn was conjuncting Mars, so he was being really serious while Pluto was opposing his Sun. He's working hard. It was opposing the Venus, wasn't getting paid as much as he wanted to get, but he was having to do some things. I'm not sure if he changed jobs or what was happening at that time, but there were certain challenges around work and things. Then it went on to 2016. In 2016, 2017, Saturn conjuncted the IC, then opposed Mercury. So that's more kind of a depression or boredom of his own thinking, being hemmed in by what he's doing, not being interested enough, not working at stuff that's not so interesting, taking all his time. Then it squared his moon, and the family making demands, has to take care of this, has to take care of this. So that's still also kind of a bit of depression. So there's been a kind of worry or depression through 2017, 2018. It's in this period he decided he's got, after the Saturn near his Mercury, he decided he had to start coming in and working on the astrology and building up the astrology again. So that's part of his thing. So I'm saying that because we know he's in the class. So like, I'm accentuating the astrology on top of this. Now, the classes are going on. He wants to finish it. It's finishing. And then he's going to want to use it. And you can see the Neptune on the descendant. Wow, the belief and the spirituality coming on the descendant. You can see it like that. But there's some confusion with the midheaven, with the partner, as to how soon or not he can do that. Most people hold on to the job and phase in astrology over a few years. They do some reason until, if they're going to go full time, they have to build it up steadily for a few years till it's secure enough to do something. And he's kind of like in that boat. Saturn opposes his sun, so he's been feeling really depressed and hemmed in. I want to change. I can't do anything over this whole year. Even right now, there was just coming. He's still on. It's just this month it's finishing with. So the Saturn opposing and the Neptune there, they're both there at the same time. The Saturn is the anchor, even though it's a depression and hemmed in, it's still an anchor against the excesses of Neptune. But in that depression, what this could mean, this could make him pull in and be restricted for the Cancer moon. The Cancer sign will pull him into himself. And the Neptune on the descendant, it's not likely to make him enchanted by the partner. It's more likely him to feel aloof and feel I'm restricted enough. I'm aloof. I'm feeling a bit aloof. How long do I keep this job? When can I change it? What are we going to do once the kids are gone? It's probably more an evasive turning point, or wanting to do things more for himself as this goes along. Once this passes, he will. As the Saturn passes, he's got the astrology added into his repertoire. He's got his other teachings and studies that he knows. And he's going to start to build things. Like with his Mercury up to the 10th, he needs a book or a video, but it may take him a few years to get it because he's with the Neptune factor coming in there. He'd be better working with video than with words so much until he gets past the Mercury Neptune. But I think a lot of the Mercury Neptune is tied to what he thinks the kids need, what he has to do. But he also has to set the examples for what he does in life. So the kids have that example set too. So we've got a fairly good anchor on the circumstances around him and around his transits. This is the main anchor. You want to get Saturn's the anchor. We looked at Saturn. Now we're looking at Saturn. We're seeing the things coming around the Saturn opposition the sun. Whoa. Okay, so here's your breath. Why? Whoa, all this other stuff is spinning around. All the Neptune things are going around. Nothing's the way it seems. Who knows how long the job's there? Who knows what's where? Who knows if the kid's going to suppose the kids want to stay in school or not stay in school? Well, if one of them didn't want to, that would cause him all kinds of confusion. So maybe they do. It's not set. You don't know. You'd have to ask him. But as soon as if you're seeing the session to him now, as soon as you walk in, he's going to know exactly what this is, and you're going to be talking about it, say, well, what's going on here? What's this? Boom, you're going to get all the stories right away. And then you see what to work with. Because it's Neptune, you work with minimalizing the extremes, not making yourself guilty, not making things more confusing, not getting too dependent, not setting up so much expectations. But there's all kinds of expectations around him, almost smothering him. And his work over the next number of years is to get free of this. And by the time Saturn gets to 2022, just in 2023, it's going to, let's just back up for a second here. By the time you get to 2023, Saturn's up in the 6th house and it's starting to build up. By 2024, it's coming above the horizon. So by then, the kids have gone to school and gone their own way, if they haven't done sooner. And he's going to get out to want to be doing other things and building up his next world for himself more than for the kids. Okay, so it'll be his turn. So we can see the puzzle. So you're coming into this session, you would think, well, what's, okay, let's just go back and look at the chart for a minute. So Saturn opposing the Sun from the 4th. All the pressure from home and pressure from home and kids, he's carrying it all, but he's tired. He's not happy with what he's doing. And the Neptune's coming along to Pisces, 6th house, squaring his midheaven, and squaring the midheaven, opposing the ascendant, conjuncting the descendant, sitting the descendant, affecting the relationships and how he responds to people. So he's tending to respond excessively, imaginatively, exaggeratedly, guilt-ridden, either guilty or fanatically. There's some Neptune element around the relationship, how he's responding and taking impressions in. Probably feeling guilty because he's not carrying everything as much as he feels he should. It could be that simple. Doesn't have to be a dramatic play outside, but there could be. So you have to be alert to that. Then the Neptune lifts off and moves up. It will square the Mercury. Then it goes past, then a number of years later, it'll square the Sun. So that's just life and expectation with the family and things. But for him, the Saturn is going to come up here and bypass the Neptune and go up to the midheaven and go up there. And that'll be the peak of his life, setting up his accomplishments, things that he's done to kids, his turn to do what he wants to do and accomplish things. Okay. Yeah, so I went really fast, a little faster than we needed to, but just we've gone over all these charts. We did them in the natal chart interpretation. Level 5, we did them in the transits, and we're here again. So they're not unfamiliar to you. They're just not personalized as much. But I make a point of always getting 5 or 10 special events, big turning points in your life, ups or downs. That's why I said, just send a month, a year, month, and the event. No big story. Got married, got divorced, won the lottery, got sick, mom died. You just get a few things in there. As soon as you put them on the Saturn graph, it comes alive with implications. You're taking the bio and the history and the sense of, and it's often good to know what the person does for a living. So you have that. And you put those on the graph, and suddenly this comes alive with meaning and relevance. You begin to see how he got where he is, where it's going, what's coming, and his approach to where he is right now. Then you back that up against his natal chart. So being authoritative, being the caregiver, the responsible one, that's the Sun in the 10th house. He wants to take care of things for his family. He's going to want that. That's an instinct. Sun in Cancer, 10th house. But he also could work at any hobby or any interest with the Gemini midheaven and the Mercury there to get something like astrology and teaching or mystical teaching. He could be living for that. Eventually, he'll get his book or something done. But he has to shift from where he is to get to to get to a social situation where he was, and that's a bit more challenging. And where he wants to be may not be where his wife wants to be, like as the kids are gone. They both put their time in. They have to look at each other and say, what's going on? Which way is this going? Okay, so, but as soon as the Saturn cycle, it's the most valuable cycle. Like 80% of anything you're going to say to someone about astrology, about timings is going to be anchored to this, or should be. Any transits lines up to where the Saturn is. And it's going around the chart, and it's reliable, it's solid information, it's responsible information that you can talk to someone who goes, you might not see the exact thing. Saturn's on the Sun, he may be starting a career, he may be making other decisions, but like you can see more or less the direction, and you can start to see, oh, that's going from here to there. You know, so you can see that even if Saturn's opposing his Sun and things are falling apart, he's going to rebuild and build up his status, and he's going up to the midheaven. His strength is in building up. It's not like if it was down in the 12th house, he would be not recovering. He'd have a whole lot of regrouping to do before he would build up again. It all turns around. It's all a natural cycle, but you're